2 long-running manga are ending, only 1 new series was added to the roster at the end of the 2024 year run, and Jump Festa protections run out by February. With all of this and a few other circumstances in the mix, could Shonen Jump's new editor-in-chief be setting up a big upset to kick off the new year? My name is Axel Blaze, and in today's video, I'll be asking the question, will Jump start 2025 by axing 6 manga in order to start 6 brand new series? But before we get too far in, I want to mention that this video is an add-on to my State of Jump video. If you haven't watched it yet, it goes into my in-depth thoughts on all the manga currently running in the magazine, and my thoughts on how long they'll last. It provides more context on what's being discussed in this video, so check it out if you're interested. Click on the little icon above to go and see it. And no, Mission Yozakura and Undead Unluck aren't getting axed. They're ending, but it makes for a better title. On to the topic at hand. I understand that what I'm proposing might not seem plausible, but it's not impossible. Our current editor-in-chief for Weekly Shonen Jump is Yu Saito, a former manga editor who has also done various anime planning and production work on Ayakashi Triangle, We Never Learn, Chainsaw Man, the Hunter x Hunter movies, My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Bleach 1000 Year Blood War. On the manga front, he helped launch We Never Learn, Nisekoi, and Kuroko's Basketball. And while he didn't launch them at various points in time, he was an editor for Hunter x Hunter, Gintama, and World Trigger. Needless to say, he's got the experience to take over as editor-in-chief. And at least so far, he's had a pretty quiet start. Of the new series that have launched under his watch as EIC, Ichi the Witch is the series with the greatest potential to go the distance, with everything else having middling or lackluster results. With issue 51 of the 2024 Jump run, we received Sidcraft, Love is a Mystery, as our final new series of the year. Is it a coincidence that we have We Never Learn and Kuroko's mangaka in the magazine with Saito in charge? I'll let you be the judge. Regardless, we ended the year with a batch of 1 and a single axe to go with it. If there was ever a time to shake things up and bring in a new guard, now would be the time. But making room for 6 manga? That is a lot, but it's also been done before. The last time we had 6 new manga join the magazine was 7 years ago in 2017, right before Hiroyuki Nakano became the previous editor-in-chief. Coincidence? I think not. For those that watched Super Eyepatch Wolf's videos throughout the years, you might remember this specific batch of new manga because he talked about them in his first ever State of Jump video back in 2017. The 6 new series were We Never Learn, U19, Demon Prince Poro's Diaries, Hungry Marie, Dr. Stone, and Robot Laserbeam. The obvious winners of the bunch were Dr. Stone and We Never Learn, while the biggest loser was U19 for very ironic reasons. But every other series either had some staying power and or their mangaka returned to the magazine with another series in a later year. I already mentioned We Never Learn and Sidcraft, but we're seeing Hitsuji Gondairo's run of Mission Yozakura ending after he ran Demon Prince Poro's Diaries in 2017. Ryuhei Tamura came back with Cop and Dolphin after Hungry Marie, rest in peace, and Tasuki Fujimaki is currently running Kill Blue in the magazine after Robot Laserbeam. It's also worth mentioning that this batch was a nice mix of vets and beginners at the time. Doing something similar in 2025 could bring some excitement back to the magazine outside of the singular instances of Kagurabachi and Ichi the Witch. But even if it's not 6 new series, we've been overdue for a batch of 4 newbies at least. Our last instance of 4 new series debuting was in 2023 with Tenmaku Cinema, Kill Blue, Do Retry, and Nue's Exorcist. The batch before that was in 2021 with The Elusive Samurai, I Telsey, Witch Watch, and 9 Dragons Ball Parade. The last time we had a batch of 5, however, all the way back in 1982. So if nothing else, there is precedent for a batch of 6 happening again since it achieved varying levels of success 7 years ago. And at least with the last 3 times we've had batches of 4, at least 2 of each set had some success. 5 of the 6 series from those 3 batches are still running in the magazine now. For those wondering what the 5th is, it's me and Roboco. It's always me and Roboco. So with the opportunity to swing big, maybe Jump Editorial will take that chance. But how do we get to a point where we can have 6 new series in one go? Well, other manga need to end or be axed. and the two big endings right now are Mission Yozakura Family and Undead Unluck. That provides a start. Based on the states of their final arcs, it's very likely that these two will end by the time we get our next batch. For all the 30 volumes or bust people in the Yozakura camp, it's absolutely possible for us to get content in the physical volumes after the magazine run ends. My Hero Academia supposedly has over 38 pages worth of content for its final volume, so something similar could happen for Mission Yozakura Family. Undead Unluck is in the same boat. It has accelerated into the endgame once again, and it could absolutely end in the span of around 10 chapters. If these two end for the same batch, this opens up 2 spots right away. After that, the next obvious choice is Hakutaku. Like I said in my State of Jump video, this series was immediate axe bait from the get-go. Its standing hasn't gotten any better 9 going on 10 chapters in. Plus, it hasn't received any kind of promotional color page like Ichi or Shinobi Undercover have received. It's also worth mentioning that its first volume isn't releasing in January alongside Ichi and Shinobi Undercover. They're not even giving it a chance to prove something with sales, so with Hakutaku out, we've now opened up 3 spots. From here, there are 3 immediate options that could be cut next: Shinobi Undercover, Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi, and hima-ten. I can already hear some grumbling toward the last 2, so let's talk about Shinobi Undercover first. This one really depends on 2 things: January volume sales and survey results. Like I just mentioned, Shinobi's first volume releases in January. Jump Editorial is going to be scrutinizing sales performance here, leading up to a new serialization round in February or March. While hima-ten and Kyoshi's sales numbers were on the lower side, there was enough demand for them to get reprints coming in December. If Shinobi can't even reach their numbers, it could very well get cut right away. On the other side of things, we have these survey results. If Shinobi Undercover manages to get another color page like Ichi the Witch just did, that could mean that Japan is vibing with the series. Granted, survey vibes don't trump sales results unless you're a gag manga typically, so don't count on survey results saving the series if the sales of Volume 1 are bad. That said, Jump is at least giving Shinobi Undercover a chance since they're releasing the first volume in January before the next serialization round is decided. Which brings us to Kyoshi and hima-ten. Realistically speaking, there's a higher chance of these two surviving than being axed, but the chance of an axe is not 0. But before the doom and gloom, let's talk about the positives. As I mentioned earlier, both series are receiving reprints for Volume 1 in December. With 2 weeks worth of Shoseki reporting, hima-ten has sold just over 11,000 volumes, and Kyoshi has just under 9,000. Compared to the usual axe bait series sales, these numbers are good. These two will also have an additional chance to prove themselves in January. Along with Shinobi Undercover selling its first volume in January, both hima-ten and Kyoshi will be selling their second volumes. And this is where things are make or break for the two. Another quick positive is that both series are being promoted at Jump Festa in December, and that's a major reason for why only Ghostbuster Murakami got the axe in issue 50 to make room for Sidcraft in issue 51. That said, Jump Festa can only save you for so long, and that was the case for Cypher Academy and Martial Master Asami. In another callback to my State of Jump video, I noted that Jump Festa promoted Cypher Academy and Martial Master Asami in addition to New Ace Exorcist in Kilt Blue in 2023. 2 months later, both Cypher and Asami were axed from the magazine. Granted, the two of them were in very different positions. In MMA's case, the series had only 2 volumes out prior to its axe announcement. Volume 1 sold 7,610 copies before Shoseki estimations fell off, and Volume 2 sold 7,609. Crazy how that was only a single volume difference, but I digress. It received plenty of promotional color pages as well, since it was by veteran Hinamaru sumo creator Kawada, but sales numbers just under 8,000 weren't enough. Cypher Academy told a different story. It was created by another manga veteran, Nisio Isin. The series was mildly successful and had even reached its 1-year anniversary before getting axed a few months later. Like hima-ten and Kyoshi, Cypher's first volume was reprinted. Twice actually. But it wasn't just Volume 1 that was reprinted. Volume 2 was also reprinted twice, while Volumes 3 and 4 were reprinted once each. Volume 5 was the last one released prior to its axing, and these sales numbers were decent too. Volume 1 sold 14,436 in its first few weeks, Volume 2 had 14,305, Volume 3 had 16,077, Volume 4 had 18,514, and Volume 5 had 18,078. In addition to sales, Cypher had several color pages in the magazine and a Twitter page, with 16.8 thousand followers at the time of writing. Compare that to hima-ten's 3,276 and Kyoshi's 4,370. At this point, we might still have some naysayers claiming that hima-ten and Kyoshi are different because they're written by new mangaka, and that's a valid argument, so why don't we compare it to another new manga that was in a similar situation? Let's talk about Mama Yu Yu. Just like our two manga in question, Mama Yu Yu also had a Volume 1 reprint after selling 12,490 copies in its first few weeks. It unfortunately received the axe notice right before the release of its second volume, but those numbers do put it in the same range as Kyoshi and hima-ten. That said, I continue to think that Kyoshi would get cut before hima-ten would. With that in mind, I think it's in danger if there isn't a big enough change in sales numbers for Volume 2, because Jump has axed manga of similar standings with higher sales. That's not to say hima-ten is 100% safe given it's in the same boat, but a rom-com may be judged with different standards. The one other series I could see ending would be Kill Blue, assuming nepotism doesn't keep saving it. Sales have been on the decline for a while, and I can't help but draw a comparison to PPP, or P6. It ended at chapter 70, and Volume 6 sold over 29,821 copies before this announcement. Volume 5, previously, sold 29,966. Kill Blue, on the other hand, is 78 chapters in. Volume 7 is out now and has sold 15,485 copies to date in 2 weeks. Volume 6 sold 23,556 copies, and for the sake of comparison, Volume 5 sold at least 21,697. That's not great for a manga veteran by Jump standards. Coincidentally, or maybe not since Jump could be setting everything up to compare and contrast, Volume 8 of Kill Blue goes on sale in January, along with everything else discussed so far. I'd bring up Shoujo too, given its low sales, but the sheer amount of color pages it gets as a gag series leads me to believe it's comfortably safe. That does lead me to one last point though for Kill Blue, hima-ten, and Kyoshi. Color page promotions are not a guarantee of safety. Kill Blue just had a color page in issue 50. hima-ten in issue 51, and Kyoshi is set to have one with the first issue of the 2025 Jump run. This is all great, but Cypher and MMA had color pages around this time last year too. Mama Yu Yu had a color page 8 weeks before its axing as well. Same situation for P6 since I mentioned it earlier. At the end of the day, we can only speculate what Yu Saito and the rest of the editorial team will decide upon for the first serialization round of the new year. But for the sake of discussing it, let's go over what I believe to be the possible results from most likely to least likely. I'm almost 100% positive that we're getting at least 3 new series with Mission Yozakura Family and Undead Unluck ending, with the axe of Hakutaku thrown in to meet the 3 series quota. If we're getting 4 new series, we add Shinobi Undercover, Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi, or Kill Blue into that mix. I think Shinobi might be the most likely, followed by Kyoshi and then Kill Blue. If we're getting 5 new series, it's most likely 2 of those 3 series is getting the axe, with a small possibility of hima-ten. Yes, there's a gag series axe possible here too, but I'm leaning against that. And lastly, if we are getting 6 new series, I think it's all but guaranteed that only Kill Blue or hima-ten are coming out of that axing alive. A battle between shonen love and shonen nepotism. Could easily go either way. But again, that's all speculation on my side. There's still a lot of sales to go through between now and February, including the reprints in December and the 5-way showdown in January. On the topic of new series to debut, I'd love to see another attempt at a sports series despite the lackluster sales of everything that's come out since Haikyuu ended. But I'll always love you, greens. Another battle series would be nice too, considering how many we've lost in 2024 going into 2025. I'd also love to see a veteran or two try and come back with another series. Granted, I know we just had that with Ichi the Witch and Sidcraft, but still. All in all, those are my thoughts on the potential of seeing 6th series end in favor of 6 new ones starting. But what do you all think? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video and want to see more like it in the future, hit that like button and subscribe button if you haven't already. For now, I'm Axel Blaze, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.